to bring a pro team, to, their home base. So that'll be really fun for our fans. But I think it'll be a blast. I think, I think it will be a pretty fun, another frenzied level. It'll be early, right? It's a preseason game, so it'll be a little bit more, relaxed in the sense of what we felt when she's hitting the shot against Indiana. But I just think it'll be a pretty awesome opportunity for fans to get her, see her again in Carver, which, nobody thought we'd ever get to see that again, right? So I think that's gonna be really cool. I'm appreciative to our administration and all the folks that worked on that, because that's a really neat thing for our program.
Maybe this is a dumb question. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Going up against Juju, I mean, you had Caitlin for 4 years, obviously a prolific scorer, the most prolific scorer. You got to see how defenses tried to play her. In practice, you got to try to maybe mess with her and see if you could get her off balance. Is there anything that you learned, what defenses did or what you tried to do in practice, that maybe translates over to a prolific scorer like Juju?
Yeah, I mean, you have your different schemes that you can try, but you have to remember that even on their off nights, they impact the game so greatly. I mean, when Caitlin would not have a great shooting night, what was it, usually 23 and 8 rebounds and maybe 5 assists and, okay, we'll say 7 turnovers. But I mean, that's still impacting the game, right? So usually it works for a while, right? And then if it works for the whole game, in my humble opinion, they got into their head, or Caitlin got into their heads a little bit, and then you start trying to force it and you want to get it, right? And not necessarily for her own game, but it's like that, it's not working. And I think any great scorer would tell you that, is the scheme definitely starts out, and then if you just stay a little cold, then all of a sudden you almost forget that they're trying to double, or the help's coming from the weak side and not the strong side or whatever. So I think when they really get thwarted, it's kind of has to be a little bit of a perfect storm if they're really not the impactful part of the game, because they're just so good. I mean, I've watched a ton on Juju, and she can be off a little bit and think, and then you look at the box score and you're like, reminds me of Caitlin sometimes, and she still has a lot. So we have the things we're going to try to do, borrowed from some others, and look back on what slowed Caitlin. But they also have, Kiki, man, they have Kennedy Smith. I mean, for a freshman, man, she's just such great size and can hit it. The bigs, the Howell that comes off the bench, she's from the Idaho. I remember, watching her. So they got a lot of weapons. So you have to be careful. You got to kind of pick your poison.
They've got a lot of size with Ray Marshall and Kiki.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate staying with the lineup with Hannah and Sid, or are you going to try to match them?
Yeah, well, I think we have to see how it flows. Like sometimes you can be undersized and it's just fine. Your boards, you kind of maybe get a call when you need it over the back. They're not quite as aggressive, or sometimes it's like, holy buckets, get everybody over 6 foot in, and so I think I just got to kind of see how it rolls. But yeah, I think you'll see, different lineups, combinations, to kind of keep them off, because we do have size with Addie, and you can go a little, Addie and Hannah go a little bit bigger again, but even Hannah's still not, they're coming at you 6'4", 6'3". We don't quite, always have that ability to match up perfectly, but you can get close. So I'll see how it flows as we go, but I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen.
The plan